In this villainous episode of OG55, we're talking all about Villains Land coming to the Magic Kingdom. This announcement blew the roof off of the D23 Expo. It was crazy. This is really, really exciting stuff. We're going to talk about it, break it down. Up next, I got the Italiano with me on OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. Today, we're talking all about the Villains Land coming to the Magic Kingdom in Florida. I got the Italiano with me, George. Welcome back, sir.
Always glad to be here. It's always a good time talking shop with you. And this is one of the topic projects that I'm most anticipated for. I think out of everything that they discussed at D23. But before we get into that, everyone, if you'd like to find me on social media, you could do so on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There it is. There it is. All right, let's dive in. Let's waste no time. This is crazy stuff here. Okay, so this is courtesy of attractionsmagazine.com, and they actually do a really good job at kind of breaking down this concept art. But here's the overall look of the land. And it says here, Disney officially announced Villains Land as the long-awaited answer to the query, what's beyond Big Thunder, at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom in Florida. The news was met with thunderous applause during the D23 Ultimate Fan event. Yeah, it was. We were there, George. I remember the whole thing. When that magic mirror came on, I was like, George, it's happening, bro. They're going to announce Villains Land. It's coming. And sure enough, boom. And the Honda Center went nuts.
The Honda Center erupted.
Dude, it was crazy. So overall, we're going to overall do a breakdown. Overall discuss our thoughts on the concept art, and then we're going to break down the individual elements of it and the villains and all that stuff. But overall, design, look, aesthetics, loving it, liking it, hating it.
So as of right now, I'm absolutely digging the overall aesthetics of what this could potentially look like. Now, I say potential because a lot of people out there take these pieces of concept art verbatim. Like they literally take it exactly of what it looks like. It's like basically the Bible, and it's like
they're not blueprints, everybody. They're not blueprints.
Yeah, exactly. You have to get out of the mindset that whatever Disney shows us, it's an idea of what the land could potentially look like. Things could be added, things could be taken out, things could be changed. It may look like something like this. It may look even better. It may look like something completely different. But just as of right now, the direction that it seems like Disney is going, again, I've said this so many times on the channel, I do not, if they're going to do villains, they have to do it justice. I do not want to see a watered down, cookie cutter, Candy Crush, diluted version of the villains. I want something hard. I want something dark. I want something edgy. And to be quite honest, I feel like they really hit the nail in the head.
Yeah, they hit the nail on the head because, I mean, we talked about it. We are on camera talking about it. They need to do a twisted Fantasyland. They need to do like a dark universe sort of thing with the villains. We don't want like an Ursula spinner or nothing cheesy or corny. We want, like very, very gothic architecture, the whole thing. And they gave us that. This artwork is exactly to a T what I was expecting from a Villains Land. And I'm telling you right now, and I've said it in other videos, I'll say it again, this spells trouble for Universal. Okay? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now, people, y'all begged for a response to Epic Universe, and Disney dropped the nuke. And I'm dead serious on that because Dark Universe has really become one of the most anticipated lands for that park. Okay? Potter, been there, done that for by and large. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How to Train Your Dragon, there's not a huge amount of hype behind that. Mario is already, at least most of it, has already been experienced around the world. It's really Dark Universe that's pulling a lot of the enthusiasm. And Disney is like, yeah, you know what? We're going to do a Dark Universe, but we're going to do it with our Villains IP. And I've said it before, the Villains IP is a stronger brand for normies, okay?
Yes.
And I know a lot of people are going to tell me, but OG, I mean, everyone knows who Frankenstein is. I get that. He's recognizable. The Wolfman, recognizable. Dracula, recognizable. But are they the money-making machine that the villains are? No, they're not. They are absolutely not. I mean, the normie is more invested in the Disney villain than they are Frankenstein. That's just a fact, okay? That's just an absolute fact. The villains are a huge franchise. So I think this is major competition for Universal. Major, major, major. So what say you, George, in regard to the competition factor?
I agree. I feel like people wanted it. You know, people wanted Disney to respond. They responded, you know, and now they're saying, you know, to retract it because in order to do Villains-land, they have to get rid of the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island. And it's like, God forbid, if that is sacred land touched, it's like, then, you know, it's not worth doing Villains at all. But, you know, I'm very curious, though, because a friend of the channel, Starship, actually made that comment as well, that he would rather, you know, keep the river and Tom Sawyer Island over Villains and the new Cars area. And I'm very curious to see his take on that as to why. We're going to have him on the channel soon, but I'm very curious to see his take. But for me personally, I would take Villains over the river any day, because as I said, I've been literally campaigning this for over like 20 years. As I said, I drew, not so good, by the way, because I'm not an artist, but I drew my own interpretation of what I would love to see in a Villains-land. And I even dated it. I have the little paper that I drew it. I just have to find it. And I dated it. And I think it went all the way back to 2007 or 2008. So I'm so glad that this is coming to fruition. But in the case for Epic Universe, I'm sorry, people are saying Disney has competition. I'm sorry, Universal got the competition now, because Disney's going to pull out all. I think they're going to pull out all the stops on this one.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is gonna be crazy. And in competition, the fan wins anyway. So
Exactly.
when you have these two behemoths fighting, we win as fans, you know. But this is definitely a response. Okay, I mean, there's no doubt about it. This is a huge response. But it says here that Villains-land will contain 2 attractions as well as a new and unique dining and shopping experience. So that's awesome. That's really cool. Now, I wanted to ask you, George.
Yes.
Do we know what castle this is? Is this Maleficent's castle, or
from what this looks like? It looks like her castle in the Forbidden Mountain. That's what it looks like to me.
Interesting, man. To have that thing perched up there like that is gonna be absolutely insane.
Yeah, which basically says to me that's going to be the centerpiece of the whole entire land.
Right. And this is some coaster track. And again, this is the concept art. It's kind of vague. So we're kind of breaking this down to kind of get an idea, but the coaster track with the thorns sticking out of it, I like that. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, which again, it's going to lean back to possibly a thrill ride involving Maleficent.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and when you think of the Disney villain, that's who you really think of. That's Maleficent's sort of the icon, the almost like the mascot of the Disney villains in a lot of way, you know. And shout out to Mark Davis, the legendary and amazing Mark Davis for Maleficent, because we wouldn't have
which you know, Damaro did mention, you know, there's going to be 2 attractions that's going to spearhead this land, but we also have to take into consideration too, in time, Villains-land might grow. Look at Avengers Campus. It started out with, you know, Web Slingers and Mission Breakout. Now it's going to double attractions, like 4 attractions in one land. You know, that could potentially happen with Villains.
Oh, it will. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is going to be a huge hit with families and just nerds in general. You know, we're going to love this. They'll expand it, you know. What's interesting too is here's the coat. You can see the or a coaster whizzing by. I don't know if it's the same coaster. I'm assuming it is.
Dare Disney do 2 roller coasters in Villains-land?
That would be something. That would be something. But here, there's a lot of water though. We hear a
I
lot of
think I know if that is a ride. I know exactly what that's based off of.
what?
I could be wrong, but of how it looks like the ride vehicle is turning, almost like in a spiral, like it's going down. It's almost like the circulatory motion of the underworld
The underworld from
from Hercules.
interesting.
Because in the valley of death, so to speak, with the lost souls, they kind of spiral down into
That's
basically like an oversized porcelain pee hole, if you will.
interesting. That maybe it's Hercules themed. But the interesting thing too is there's a lot of water. A lot of fans are really concerned losing the rivers of America because this is part of that land. You know, technically, everyone focuses on cars, but this is also, I think, the upper part, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It's going to be the northern part of this section. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks like it's obviously not going to be the same amount as the rivers of America in terms of water, but there is, at least from the art, okay, from the art,
Right.
what we can surmise, it looks like there is a water element and a fairly significant one with these waterfalls. I mean, this is pretty significant. And
Could
there's
it, now,
Maleficent.
now, really quick to that last piece of concept, could that be like a kind of like an underground water tank, like that's filled where it gives you the illusion like you're going into the water, but it's I'm trying to think like how to like it's actual real physical water, but there
Right.
it's like the tank, it's like a big tank that you're actually like walking above, but it's like built in the ground, so as you're in the attraction, the ride, that it kind of takes you down, sort of like how like when you walk into like a an exhibit in a zoo, so to speak, like where the water is around you, but it feels like you're walking through it and you see all
Oh,
the
I see.
fish and everything. Sort of something like that.
It could be. It could be. I'm kind of getting a little bit of the vibes from Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean, like that. After I think it's the second drop, and you go through that, you kind of like go through that turn.
Oh, in the cavern.
Yeah, with the waterfalls and the blue lighting, it
Okay.
kind of reminds me of that on a bigger scale. And that's the kind of energy I'm kind of getting, like the rock work, the waterfall, the lighting. They'll probably have some creepy music. But dude, this is incredible. I mean, this looks freaking amazing. And there's Maleficent. Now, do we know the theme of the coaster, or they didn't say?
They didn't say anything about the attractions. Now, I am wondering if they will make that announcement either like on a parks blog on a parks blog, or they may announce that at Destination D23 next year, or they may save that for the next D23 Ultimate Fan event. But I think one of the attractions, it's pretty safe to say it's going to be based off of Maleficent. And now I don't know if they just kind of added her as the dragon just in the concept art just to kind of give an idea, like, you know, it's going to be very dark, it's going to be very, gritty, or if this is actually going to be showcased in the ride itself where you come face to face with Maleficent as the dragon, sort of kind of like in the finale.
You have to. You have to come face to face with her. You have to, and then it have the effect where she's, the green fire and the whole
Mhm.
thing. Dude, this would be an incredible experience. Does Disney have the balls to go follow through with this? That's my big concern. I mean, this
And
is
I
a
want them to use real fire, like her shooting us. Like I want Disney to have us sign like a waiver before we go on this ride.
this. Yeah, I know. I want them to use real fire too, like Indiana Jones Adventure, where you're going through and there's like these fireballs and stuff. I want to see real fire.
Yeah.
And if you can change it to green and stuff, but I think they have the technology to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, chef's kiss, baby. But this would be amazing. This is amazing, dude. Absolutely incredible. A huge homage to Mark Davis too. I just love it.
Absolutely.
That's his baby. And then it says here, this is interesting. This is why I really like Attractions Magazine. They really do break this down. But it says here, the following Disney villains appeared in an official Disney TikTok video announcing the project, for what it's worth. So we have the evil queen from Snow White. Perfect. Classic villain. Chair in a Bog from Fantasia. Come on. That's a given. Lady Tremaine from Cinderella. So the evil stepmother. The Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland. Captain Hook from Peter Pan, Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. We got Cruella de Vil, Madam Mim. Does that one surprise you a little bit?
That one surprises me. I mean, because I was very surprised that they utilized her for Oogie Boogie Bash, and I have seen some of the treat trails that they've been setting up while I was at Disneyland this past trip, and Madam Mim is returning for Oogie Boogie. So that's interesting.
That's very interesting because it's kind of more of a deep cutty character. I mean, a lot of kids and families nowadays. I mean, this, let's be honest, Sword and Stone ain't exactly a hot franchise right now. So that's surprising. They must have. It's probably a lot of the data they've collected from like Oogie Boogie Bash, though. Like you said, that character gets a lot of good feedback or something.
Mm-hmm.
Ka from Jungle Book. Now here's a surprising one.
The Horn King
from the Black Cauldron. This is one of Disney's notorious box office flops. Now, honestly, I like the movie. I watched it a couple of years ago on Disney Plus. I think it's a cool movie. I like it. It kind of has a Don Bluth kind of vibe to it a little bit, but one of the best villains Disney has ever done. Almost like the male equivalent of Maleficent in a lot of ways. Just pure fucking evil, dude. Like, just amazing. But the fact that this character might be featured in this land, I mean, how insane is that? I never would have guessed that, dude.
No, I never would have.
Ballsy move, right? Or no?
Oh, absolutely. Because a lot of people don't even know who the Horn King is. Because I can't imagine everyone to even know about the movie The Black Cauldron.
Yeah, there's a lot of old school stuff in here. I guess Disney doesn't really do villains anymore, though. It's always these twist villains, right?
Yeah.
Like Hans from Frozen. Like, it's not really a villain. Like, it is, but it isn't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they had to dip into like the old school Walt and Renaissance era stuff. And I'm not mad at it. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, it's awesome. Ursula, Little Mermaid. We got Gaston. Jafar. That's a baddie. I love Jafar. Scar from The Lion King. How do you pronounce it? Yzma. From Emperor's New Groove. Dr. Facilier, that's a weird one because they kept him out of Tiana's Bayou Adventure because from what we heard, this is just what we heard, they didn't like the voodoo element. But is he going to be part of this land? Are they kind of reversing course on that whole mindset? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what actually happens. Mother Gothel from Tangled. And Brian Roberts of Comcast. Wow, that's a biggie. I'm just kidding. No, King Magnifico from Wish. So let's kind of talk about this, George. Like, it says here, the following Disney villains appeared in an official TikTok announcing the project. So, like, obviously all these characters aren't going to be like prominently featured in the land. They might be nods and homages to them. Maybe there'll be some rock work, in Fantasy Springs, how they have the rock work shaped like the characters. Maybe there'll be some rock work that'll have like a Horn King. It's kind of like it's subtle, but you can kind of see it, like Grizzly Peak or Fantasy Springs or the Tree of Life, where it's kind of carved in there in like this weird organic way. So some of these characters might be presented in that kind of way or something. I can't imagine them doing like a dark ride on the Horn King. I mean, that would, if Disney does that, that is so like not on my bingo card.
Right. Now, here's the other thing we have to take in consideration too, is character meet and greets.
That's
because
true.
They are going to probably incorporate some character meet and greets in this area. So I wouldn't be surprised if they incorporate some of these characters in there as well.
That might be the bulk of what we're seeing here. Because obviously we only have 2 rides. You can only do so much. Like, there's only so many characters.
If they gave us a Horn King meet and greet to have the same kind of prosthetics that they did with Ernesto de la Cruz, kind of like have like that, like where it's makeup with prosthetics where the performer can like still move his mouth and talk, but you see all that prosthetic and makeup goodness of the Horn King to just, I doubt it, because I don't know how far Disney will go, because he's a very dark villainous character.
Oh, very.
But damn, man, if Disney did that, now that would be ballsy.
I don't think that's too far off. If he was mentioned, they probably have something planned for him, and I could see a meet and greet being the route they go with it.
And honestly, if people then again bitch and complain about as they do with everything, then it's like, then don't get in line to meet him.
Then don't go. Yeah, exactly. If Disney's not for you and you're unhappy with every decision they make now, then just stop going. I'm not being a smart ass. I'm just like, if they're not providing you a product that you're not into anymore, then don't go. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I don't like something, I don't give my money anymore.
Exactly.
That's kind of what you do, right? I don't know. But yeah, this is fascinating. I think that there's a lot of interesting stuff here. This is the kind of stuff that I think is going to put Magic Kingdom on the map, at least for me personally. Magic Kingdom for me was a very weak park. I said it so many times. It feels very much like a light version of Disneyland, live action Disneyland, where you're not, it's trying to check all the boxes, but it just doesn't feel the same. There's no soul to it at all.
Exactly.
At all. You know, this kind of stuff, the Villains-land separates it from every other castle park. This is going to be incredible. This new Cars area. I know it's controversial. A lot of people are upset over it. I understand that, but it creates a situation where the Magic Kingdom has a much more distinct personality now, separate from that of Disneyland. I think that's going to benefit this park quite a bit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. So before we head out of here, though, George, any final thoughts on Villains-land?
Again, I'm very excited for it. I was anticipating this. I was somewhat slightly disappointed because when we were at D23 for the park's presentation, Tomorrow started onto the Beyond Big Thunder project, and it was talking about like the Cars themed area, and then that was it. He went off of it. They went on to, I think, probably talk about the Disney Cruise Line. And I said to myself, well, I guess no villains. You know, I guess that was just a far-fetched idea. Maybe next time. And I remember telling you that. I was like, dang, I really thought we were going to get villains. Like, I thought the response back in 2022, that would have been more than enough. And I just kind of forgot about it. I thought, I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just going to leave it go. And then right at the end, man, when they were about to close it out, you get the
One more thing,
and we get the music from Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Hellfire, and then they had the fire like pyro come up on stage, and then as you said, the magic mirror, kind of going back and forth with Tomorrow, and he said a twisted land that has been, and it's like, oh my god, I was like, they're really doing this. They literally saved the best for last.
Incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, that was a showstopper. And
that's exactly what Pete Docter said right before he dropped the ball on The Incredibles 3.
Oh yeah, no, and Pete Docter was fantastic. He was really good with that. I love that, with the something incredible, and they boom, Incredibles 3 right behind him.
Yeah.
Just great presentation. A lot of the panels had that great presentation like that. They really paced these things really well and kept the crowd energized. It was really well done. It really was. But yeah, this Villains-land is a game change. And I think it's going to get people interested in Magic Kingdom a lot. This is going to change. I get it. It's the most attended park in the world. But let's be honest, Disneyland's catching up. I mean, with those last attendance figures from 2023, Disneyland is like a frog hair away, man. Just like that freaking close, So I think Magic Kingdom needs a little shot in the arm, so we'll see.
And as of right now, Tomorrow confirmed, as we said, there's going to be 2 attractions. There's going to be shopping. There's going to be dining. He used a little bit of a play on words with, like, he said, be prepared, you poor unfortunate souls. Now, could that possibly mean something that involves Scar and Ursula? It's possible, especially since they are also on the roster that we just saw. That was part of the TikTok.
Well, Lion King is a huge franchise for them, not just in animation, but even live action. So to incorporate Scar, I think he's going to have a big part in this, and especially because he said that.
And I can kind of see them doing like an Elephant Graveyard style restaurant, because since like with Scar being a lion, he's a carnivore with the hyenas. Like a
steakhouse or
like
something
a steakhouse,
crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be fun, dude. There's an enormous amount of potential here. If Disney can deliver on the execution. Again, look, the announcement The concept art, perfect. Now the work begins. Now make it like that. Make it like you're showing us. If they make it like what they're showing us, it's going to be a massive hit. It's going to change Halloween at Magic Kingdom forever. Yes. That's another thing, you know. And I even think that the Cars area is going to change Halloween forever and the holidays in general, because out here in California with our Cars Land, they really dress up Cars Land. They really cute ways, really creative ways. I think it's going to really be, if they can do that over there at Magic Kingdom, they're going to really that little Cars area is going to really be a huge boost.
And a lot of people, you know, complain that, and honestly, in a way, I'm one of those people that, like, when it comes to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party in Magic Kingdom, it's getting a little dry. It's getting a little bit repetitive, and the prices are going up, but nothing's really significantly changing. But with the Villains-land, oh man, I could imagine what they could be doing with Halloween.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. Thank you, Brian Roberts. We appreciate you. I'm just kidding. No, in all seriousness, though, Universal is creating an incredible product with Dark Universe. A really, really incredible product. We've been excited about it for a long time. Now Disney's got their version of that kind of thing too. It's awesome, dude. We're battle of the bad guys, you know what I'm saying? Battle of the baddies, you know? So it's an exciting time to be a theme park fan for sure. But George, it was awesome talking villains with you today. If you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Sticky. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG 55. Comment down below with all your thoughts on Villains-land coming to the Magic Kingdom. Your predictions, your speculations. We want to hear them. The Horn King. How weird is that? I am shocked. I am flabbergasted. Wow, I just sounded really white. Flabbergasted. No, but I am flabbergasted. I am shocked that Horn King is on that list. But what do you guys think? Comment down below. We would love to hear from you. And until the next time.